Hello and welcome to Hardtalk India. No one believed she would until she actually did. Her election as the Chief Minister of the Indian state of Rajasthan has taken the country by surprise. And not surprisingly, the Indian press simply hasn't stopped writing about her. Well, here today to talk about herself, her government and its priorities is the new Chief Minister of Rajasthan, Vasundhara Raje Scindia. First of all, congratulations, Chief Minister, on your amazing victory. As
Thank
I
you,
said,
Karan. Thanks.
everyone said that it was a big surprise. Were you also taken by surprise?
No, not really. We'd been working at it for a year. The election process, as you know it, wasn't the way we knew it. We knew it for almost 12 months before because we were on the ground working for 12 months. And
Except that
my campaign actually started 12 months before.
But you were very reluctant when you were offered the job of party president in Rajasthan, and there was a point when you didn't even want to stand as an MLA.
Well, let's just say that it's a daunting task. For somebody who had not been out in that, well, in the field as far as my constituency was concerned, it was fine. But Rajasthan was not my constituency. It was not just 8 MLA districts. It was 32.
So you were
Huge big
scared you were
districts.
biting off more than you could chew.
Well, I'm sure everybody, when you go new into a field, would feel that way. So I would really not be telling the truth if I said that I wasn't daunted by it. I was.
How much of your success is because Pramod Mahajan steered your campaign?
Let me just say that everybody had their piece in this very, very big campaign. I don't think that I could have done very much without the help and the support that I got from Pramod. And I really do believe it was very unstinting, it was well given. And his team of people worked solidly with us. But so did our workers, so did the people.
I'm glad you said so did our
And,
workers. How much of your victory is because of the wider support you got from the RSS and the Sangh Parivar?
You know, you would have surprised me if you hadn't asked me this question. I have to tell you that it is it's a large organization. That is, all of them put together. And I would like to say very clearly over here that I would not like to separate one or the other. We had lots and lots of people in the field, whether they were people, MLAs, workers from Maharashtra, whether it was the Sangh people, whether it was the workers of the BJP of that area, and whether it was from the neighboring states, the people who had come in.
Let me quote you.
Let me just tell you very clearly that there was a huge support base for us from our workers and also from the people. And that's the
You're
reason why we won the
judiciously
way we did.
avoiding using the word RSS, which is interesting. Let me remind you of what Acharya Dharmendra of the VHP said to the Indian Express on the 13th of December, 5 days after your swearing in. He said, their victory is the victory of Hindu ideology. They have won with such a big majority because of the work put in by us and our affiliated organizations. He claims credit for it.
I'm really delighted that people from all walks of life have claimed credit to my victory, because that's how I would like it. I would like every single person, from the smallest to the tallest, to actually involve
But do
themselves and feel
you
this
give
way.
credit to the RSS and to the VHP?
I gave credit to my line of thinking. I was very clear from the very beginning that we were going to work with development as our agenda, because the Rajasthan's development meant a lot to all of us and to the people of the
You know what
state.
the press says?
If the people are hungry, we are not going to be successful in anything we do.
Do you know what the
And
press
which is
says?
the reason,
press
Karan, you have to
says-
finish, let me finish. And which is one of the reasons why I do very strongly believe that the people of Rajasthan supported us.
But
I went across all kinds of caste barriers, I went across religious barriers, and we talked about Rajasthan and what we're going to do.
no
with
doubt
it.
you did, Chief Minister, but let's come back to the claims that the RSS and now the VHP are making that they are responsible. The press say that 60 out of your 120 MLAs are committed workers of the RSS. They say that that is a higher percentage in Rajasthan than in any other BJP government in the country.
I don't agree with that, Karan. I don't know how many people would be committed workers. I'm sure it's not something that one can sit back and count. But these are all BJP primary members now.
Isn't that why the Sangh Chalak of the RSS, K.S. Sudarshan, held a special session to teach your MLAs and ministers the art of governance, and he did it within 48 hours of your victory?
Not at all. It wasn't within 48 hours of my victory. It was many days after that. And I would like to very much say to you that we are an organization that deal very happily with each other. I go to the Sangh organization. I've been going since I've been very small. And so do other members.
Except
but
for
it
the
doesn't
fact
mean
that this...
one moment. But it doesn't mean anything.
But
We
it
have
does,
a
it
very,
does,
very
forgive me.
one moment. We have a very good setup, but we are very clear about where the organizations are going, what work I am supposed to do, what work they do. Fields are all very clearly
Except
divided
for
up.
the fact that the Sangh Chalak didn't hold a guidance course on the art of governance in Delhi or Ahmedabad, in Bhopal or Panjim. He only held it in Jaipur. Why Jaipur?
He didn't hold it in Jaipur, actually. It was Kota.
But why in Rajasthan?
And when they came to Kota, they invited whoever the members were. I personally wasn't there. But all those people who wished to go were welcome to go.
In fact,
so
let me
did.
quote to you what Praveen Togadia told the Hindustan Times on the 15th of December. He said, Rajasthan is the laboratory of Hindutva. Gujarat has become the graveyard of secular ideology, and we will extend it to Delhi via Jaipur. Wasn't that why the Sangsang Chalak was teaching the art of governance to your new MLAs? Because he wanted to ensure this process continued.
I really don't seem to agree with you, because the kind of threat perception that you seem to see or see behind this really doesn't exist. Rajasthan is very clear. It's always been very secular. And I really can't help what other people say.
So you dissociate yourself from Praveen Togadia's remarks?
I have absolutely. How can I associate myself with a remark of his when I never even knew when he said it?
The intriguing thing is, as you said a moment ago
I
yourself...
really can't take credit or discredit for what you have to say about any of these things, can I?
But the intriguing thing, as you said a moment ago yourself, is that you didn't attend that particular crash course organized by the Sangsang Chalak on the art of governance. You absented yourself. That was deliberate, wasn't it?
Oh, it was something that one has to look behind, because there must be something terrifying behind it. No, it wasn't really, because we were all asked. Whoever felt like coming went.
Most of your ministers went, most of your MLAs went, the chief minister didn't. Why?
Oh, I don't know, actually. I didn't think it was that important.
You're mocking the question, but is that not because you don't know how to answer it?
No, that was not the question. There was no compulsion to go, Karan. People who were invited, if they felt like going, could go.
Chief Minister, the intriguing thing is not just that you didn't go, but you've launched a 100-day sweeping program of reform.
Is this an inquisition, or are you interested?
Not at all. I'm trying to establish the nature of the relationship
well, you haven't
and the
been able
lines
to do it
that
for the last
drawing.
10 minutes.
Because
I'm making it very clear to you that as far as I'm concerned, my agenda is developmental. Now, would you like to get off this topic, or do you want to stay on it?
No, I want very much to pursue development, but I want to pursue it by pointing out to you that when you launched your 100-day sweeping reforms, and it's a 100-day program that has actually been very impressive, the one thing you didn't do was to lift the ban on tridents and rules, which the RSS has been calling for.
You are so predictable. I knew you'd ask this question.
What about answering it?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm very happy to answer it for you. As far as I'm concerned, when this issue came up at the time of the Congress, I don't really think that it should have come up anyway, because people are free to practice in a democratic state their religions in any way they want it, as long as they do not disrupt the law and order situation of any state. I believe that the Trishul situation was something that nobody even knew about in Rajasthan, actually came into focus when the ban got put. And it was put because the Congress believed that they would be able to dangle a bait to which I should rise, and then maybe the election
would
become...
But why haven't you lifted the ban?
Let's finish it, and then let's have the election move towards the Hindutva way. And if it moved the Hindutva way, they would be vindicated. However, as far as I was concerned, I still believe that everyone's free to practice whatever they want to do. But if there's anything that's going to be disruptive, there will be a problem.
But the interesting thing is your closest supporters in the VHP and the RSS want the ban lifted. Your new party president, Lalit Kishore Chaturvedi, when he took over, actually said it would be. The next day he had to publicly go back. You haven't done what your supporters are asking for. I'm intrigued. Why?
Because I'm going to run the government which is going to be good for the people.
That's a very important statement. So you see,
no, I haven't said anything.
Retaining the ban as in public interest.
No, I do not say whether I'm going to retain it. I didn't say whether I was going to remove it. I said that I would do what is good for the people.
Let me give
Have
you...
I said that I'm going to remove it, or that I'm not? We'll leave it at that.
The inference, of course, is something that everyone will draw.
There is no inference at all.
Let me give you another example. Your party manifesto committed you to an anti-conversion bill. You've had sweeping reforms. You've taken all sorts of action in terms of jobs, in terms of building roads, but you've done nothing about this anti-conversion bill. Again, something the RSS and the VHP want, and you're not acting.
Oh, it's really awful, I must say. But as far as I'm concerned, you've given me, it's not 40 days as yet. I must be really superwoman if you think that I can manage to get everything done with the same kind of attention within this very short period of time. I'm going to have very little left to do in the next 4 years or 4.5 years.
It's just the priority and the speed that I'm questioning.
Good. I'm
You're
glad that
hastening
you've
slowly
that.
over here, and deliberately so.
How do you know it's deliberate? And how do you know that I'm not hastening over
Because
the areas that I am wanting to? Because I believe, as I said, I've set an agenda and I'm following that.
Because Uma Bharti in Madhya Pradesh, where she promised a ban on cow slaughter, didn't even wait for the assembly to pass it. She did it by ordinance. You've acted very differently.
I've acted very differently from everybody over a long period of time. I've taken a long time to choose my ministers. I've taken a long time to expand my cabinet. I'm taking a long time to move my bureaucrats. I'm taking a long time to do everything but the agenda. And I've moved that fastest and possibly faster than most of the
Chief
others.
Minister, what I'm hinting
So I
at...
have a different way of handling things, Karan, and I believe every person who is in government or out has a different way of approaching their problems or approaching, as I said, governance. And I'm happy to do it in the way I am. And I think you actually should compliment me.
In fact, I'm coming around in a sense to doing that, because what I was hinting at when you were losing your temper and
Did I
becoming
miss it?
irritable
Did I
was
miss
that
it?
there is a
Did I miss
line,
it?
yes, because there is a line that you are drawing in Rajasthan, and behind that line is the sentiment unexpressed. Thus far will Hindutva and RSS forces go and no further.
I refuse to commit myself to any of this.
It's embarrassing for you to do that, I understand.
It's not at all embarrassing for
look
me.
at the-
But as I said, are you interested in knowing about the state? Are you interested in the direction that we're going in? Or are you just going to insist that certain facts, as you see them, are going to be put on this table?
I'm
and
pointing only at 3 facts. The fact that you didn't attend the Sarstad Chalak
you didn't know
seminar.
that. I have just told you that.
No, in fact, I did know it, but you also told me that as well. But I did know it because it's been in the press. The fact that you didn't rush to lift the ban on Trishuls, the fact that you haven't rushed to impose an anti-conversion bill on all 3 fronts.
I haven't
You've
rushed in
drawn a
anything.
neat line in the sand to say to Hindutva forces, thus far in Rajasthan,
I have said
no
nothing of the
further.
sort. I have said nothing of the sort, and I refuse to be boxed in on any one of these issues. I am simply taking my time about issues. I will weigh them up, and then I will take action on them if they're good for the people.
Something that you said a moment ago that you were deliberately taking your time over was expanding your cabinet. You've been a chief minister now for 7 weeks. You were sworn in on the 8th of December. You have a cabinet of 9. The law permits you 21 more. Can't you find them, or don't you need them?
Aren't I? I'm really happy to hear that, because when we had more, you'd be complaining like you did about poor Mulayam. And now you're complaining because I have a small cabinet. I was sure that you would probably pat me on the back and say, well done. You're one of the few reformists who've started with a small cabinet. And that's how I intended to start, because I looked for regional balances. I looked for people who were very competent. I have a small and neat cabinet just now that have been able to handle their subjects in the Vidhan Sabha very, very well. And I, as I said to you, believe in taking my time, looking at merit, finding it, and then putting it where it is.
Except for the fact that as chief minister, you're today handling 58 government departments that don't just include home and finance, but you also happen to be handling portfolios like planning, rural development, law, tourism, family planning, agriculture and health.
You forgot, it's not 58, it's 60, actually.
In
that
which
I'm
case you call
handling.
yourself superwoman. Because if you're not
well.
superwoman, this is a recipe for bad governance.
Isn't it? We'll see. You have to only give me my chit after 5 years. You really can't do it in not even 3,
Do you
2 months.
intend to carry the burden of 60 government
Not
portfolios
at all,
for
not
5
at all.
full years?
Not at all. Not at all.
Do you know what?
I'm looking forward to having more company.
When will you have that?
I was waiting for you to ask that question. Well, let's see. At this moment in time, I'm going to be sitting down to think about regional balances. I'm thinking about caste. I'm thinking about bringing new people in. And now there's elections, so there's going to be a certain amount of calibration. And after I finish doing that, if we think it's a good idea, we might do it before the election. We might even do it after the election.
So you might not have a new membership of your cabinet for another 3 or 4 months.
I may not.
Do you know what the press is saying? They're saying that this is another sign that she's resisting pressure from the RSS. The press
Ooh.
claims that the RSS have asked for 3/4 of the portfolios in your government, and the only way you can hold them off is not to expand the cabinet.
I really wouldn't look at the shadows. Please, Karan, let's move on and let's get on to the things that are
We
good for
have in
Rajasthan.
front of us here in this studio a chief minister who is part of the wider Sangh family, but is drawing a clear line in the sand to those very Hindutva forces and saying thus far no further. It's embarrassing for you to accept it.
I
but
certainly
the
am not
facts
embarrassed
speak
at all.
for themselves.
I am very clear about the fact that I have grown up in the Sangh Parivar. I have never had a problem with that. But as I said to you, I make up my mind as I go along what is good for the people, and that's how I will
And
carry
I will
on.
not do what you
They
tell
will-
me to
no,
do
no, not at all, not at
simply
all.
because you're saying it.
Nobody
That's what you're
simply said
saying.
it. Nobody simply said it.
When you came to power on the 11th of December, you addressed your officials and you pointed out that the state's coffers were almost virtually empty and that resource generation was precipitously small and low. Just how bad is the situation you've inherited?
I've inherited a very, very precarious situation because everything, I mean, there's a huge debt, and revenue receipts and fiscal receipts are pretty bad shape, and we don't have too much investable fund.
Is this why you needed
So
a 1,000
therefore-
crore loan from the centre?
I haven't taken a 1,000 crore loan from the centre.
Papers say you've asked for one, the Financial
No, I've
Express in
not.
particular.
I have taken a 500 crore borrowing. I've taken some money which was owed to us from the electricity department. I have taken something for water and for our canal systems.
But the bottom
that
line
comes
is that
to-
you need funds.
That comes to almost 1,200 crores of rupees, so our plan has been extended with that,
But
up
the,
to
bo-
that
but
extent.
the bottom line
As
is
far
that
as
you're
I'm
short of
concerned,
funds in Rajasthan.
yes, absolutely are short of funds, and we're going to take care of this by aggressively going out to raise our revenue receipts through our administration. We're also closely going to monitor it, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm also looking for investment from outside. I believe that it's time for public-private partnership. I believe it's time for us, the government, actually to become a facilitator and a catalyst, to step back and to bring in people who are good, who understand their business and get on with the developmental work.
Can I ask you
And I
this,
also
Chief
have
Minister?
one more thing up my sleeve, and that is the huge Rajasthani community, which is outside of the state, in the, let's say, in India as well as outside in foreign countries.
The diaspora,
I believe
as they
that,
call it.
yes, the diaspora as they call it, and as far as they're concerned, they have been extremely successful, whether they've been outside the country or within the country, and I'm asking them to come back and help us develop Rajasthan.
The one point that you've made is that the state is short of funds, it needs to generate resources, in which case, explain this to me. Why have you unleashed a tax bonanza? Far from harnessing new resources, you're driving your already empty coffers towards bankruptcy.
No, whatever I've done, I have worked within my budget. All of it has been taken care of. None of this is outside my budget. All of this has been set within a time frame, and by the 31st of March, I'm putting it on the web.
You have,
So it will be very clear to everybody. We won't even need to argue about it.
but you've restored bonuses where they were cut. That's going to cost you 200 crores
I haven't
according to the
restored-
press.
I haven't restored bonuses.
Diwali bonuses?
I have not restored. What I have is within my budget.
It's been in the press that you've restored Diwali
I
bonuses.
will do it from the next year onwards, and I have budgeted it.
So not from this year.
No.
That is a step that will
31st of
happen.
March, no, that will go into the 31st
And
of
that
March
is also
onwards
true,
next year.
therefore, when you say that you scrapped professional tax, that will also happen after 31st March.
Happens 31st March.
And the same thing to do with the reduction of entertainment tax.
Yes.
In other words, in this fiscal year, when you're short
Which
of
is
funds,
exactly
none
what
of these
happens.
measures will actually
These are
happen.
not going to hurt the state. All of it is going to be, but it's all budgeted. All of it has been taken care of, and we're putting it on the web so that experts like you can take it apart and
Why
have a look at it carefully, and then
did you
come
not
back to me on
correct
these
the
kind of interviews.
impression in the press that you were offering tax reductions and other sops as a way of buying
Karan,
votes
I
for
can't
your
do.
party?
I really can't do everything. I can't stop the press from doing what they think is best. They have views, they have opinions, and they have ideas, and they're free to.
Except for the fact that you're a new chief minister, very dependent upon the impression the press creates. And if the press is creating the impression, particularly with wrong facts, then surely it's incumbent on you to correct it.
Let me be very clear here. I came to power without the help of the press. If I had left it to the press, I wouldn't be sitting in front of you. So I believe that whatever I have got today has happened thanks to the people, thanks to my party, thanks to some people who stood by me, and thanks purely to my hard work, which has taken me 12 very, very grueling months to get where I am.
You sound
And
as
the
if
press worked very hard to see that I didn't get where I did. And
Are you
I
disenchanted with the press?
No, not at all. They did their job, I did mine. But I'm glad to see that I succeeded. And as I said to them afterwards, there's no hard feelings, because suppose you had said nice things about me. Maybe we'd have got lulled into a sense of false security, and maybe we wouldn't have worked as hard.
But you're also saying, I
And
couldn't
therefore-
care less what the press say. I've
No.
lived without them and succeeded without them, and I will continue to succeed despite them.
That's what you say. You say that about the RSS. You say. I don't say. You say.
But you're in a very interesting situation. I've given you credit for a line that many people would admire that you've drawn in the sand, which the press hasn't picked up as yet, and you don't wish to have that credit. The press are blaming you for sops that you're giving, which you've just pointed out to me are not true, and you're also not concerned about that. Surely indifference
I don't know.
is
I'm
not the
sorry
right
to say,
response.
it's not that I'm concerned or not concerned. Please don't put words into my mouth, Karan. Allow me to say what I have to say. Why do you want to praise it?
Let me put you something else that the press are conveying as an image about you. They say very clearly that the chief minister's taken to religion and become superstitious. She refused to move into official residence during the inauspicious month of Malmas, and she's conducted the prayers in 101 shrines to ward off bad karma.
Let me make one thing very clear to you. I have always been very religious. It's not something that has happened overnight. I do believe, and I am superstitious. I can't do very much about that. So I'm afraid I am going to continue in that fashion. Malmas is, in the Hindus, not a month in which any good work is done. So I have tried to keep Malmas on the side. But as far as thanks to the religious shrines are concerned, yes, I did. All round Rajasthan, on the 30th, 31st and 1st of December and January, there were prayers offered at Muslim dargahs, at Hindu shrines, at Sikh gurdwaras, at Sindhi temples, at the churches, from the people of Rajasthan to say a very, very big thank you. All our workers went to
But
each
you
of these
accept
temples.
that you're superstitious.
I believe that the temples, when they're well looked after, create an atmosphere which is good for the people. The blessings of God are always good for the people. And because of that, maybe it will ward off evils like, yes, you could say that I am a happy mixture of modernity and a certain amount of traditionalism.
You're also a happily candid person who's quite happy to admit to facts. Outlook Saptahik says that she takes her morning prayers so seriously that when she can't complete them at home, she does it on board her helicopter.
I do. I do. If I am not able to finish them, I should be able to finish them. It takes me 45 minutes every day. But if I am late, I do them in the helicopter or I do it in the car.
The magazine says that she's become dependent upon daily astrological advice from a certain Pandit Kedar Sharma.
Oh, come on, Karan. I haven't seen Mr. Kedar Sharma for a while, but that's besides the point.
But should the chief minister be so dependent upon superstition? That's the point I'm making. Is it fitting for you to be so dependent?
No, let's get serious. Now, you know, you're really, there's a limit to it. Just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that you have to try and bring down this, you know, to any level.
No,
you have to understand.
Chief Minister, it has nothing to do with being a woman. It's to do with the question, is it fitting for the head of government to be so publicly dependent on superstition?
I am sorry, I'm not publicly dependent. I'm very clear about the fact that my religious duties, I do them every morning. I think people go to church, they go to their dargahs. I do my prayers every morning. I don't think anyone should misconstrue that. And I have no hesitation in saying that I do.
The press are beginning to.
I have no problem about that.
It's the Hindi press that gets read most widely in your state.
I have absolutely no problem about that either. They got very widely read right through the year.
They used to say a few that as a former Maharani, she doesn't have a feel of the popular pulse. You clearly proved them completely wrong when you won an unexpectedly large majority in Rajasthan. Today, don't you run the danger, because of your own candor, because of your own frankness, that they're going to turn around and say, the chief minister is far too superstitious to be rational?
Absolutely not, because they know she's not superstitious enough to be rational. She is not crazy to be that superstitious.
In other words, there's another line that you clearly draw.
No, I'm not clearly drawing any line. Please don't put words into my mouth.
Let me put it like this.
Let people see it and decide for themselves. Why should you draw lines for anyone?
Let me put it like this. Many people get the impression that she's a tougher lady than she lets on. That was certainly the case when you won an astounding majority last December. Is that also going to prove to be the way you handle your allies, both within the Sangh Parivar and your own party within the BJP?
Why don't you wait and see?
So what I'm asking you is, are you tougher than you look?
Why don't you wait and see? I'd like you to make that decision, because you're a guy who makes a lot of decisions. You don't let it come from anywhere around. So I would suggest that you just wait for 6 months and find out for yourself.
You're deliberately taking your time over your actions, over your cabinet, over the things that you do. You're even taking your time over which bit of your manifesto you fulfill when. This is clearly well thought out strategy, isn't it?
Well, you can take it both ways. If you looked at it from this side, you'd say, well, it's very foolishly done. If you looked at it from that side, you could say she's terribly clever and she's handled it in a much better fashion. I'll leave you to find that out. 6 months from now, you'll be able to at least form some opinion.
You like being an enigma.
Do I?
You like leaving people in mystery and doubt because you've worked out for yourself that's one way of ensuring
that's
you
what
remain.
You say. I'd like the others to tell me that. Maybe we could have a poll on this one.
If people were to turn around and say that Vasundhara Raje Scindia is a surprisingly different person to what she thought or we thought she was, would you take that as a compliment?
The only people who know what I'm all about is the people at the grassroots level. because they are the only ones that we deal with directly, and it's a contact straight from the heart. It's a spiritual compact, and that's the reason why they knew and I knew that we would be in government together at the end of the year, and no one else knew.
And they are the only ones that you actually
care
about.
They are the only ones that I actually care about.
Chief Minister, a pleasure having you
Thank
on
you.
Hardtalk India.
Thanks.